You know, it's funny how we're constantly told that the more we have, the happier we'll be. Society, advertisements, and social media all push this idea that accumulating more stuff will make us feel fulfilled. But if you take a step back and really think about it, is that actually true? If having more made us happy, wouldn't everyone with the latest gadgets, expensive clothes, and fancy cars be living in complete bliss? The reality is often the opposite. Have you ever bought something you were really excited about? Maybe the latest phone or a designer bag. But after a few weeks, the excitement fades and you find yourself craving the next thing. This is called the hedonic treadmill. It's this cycle where no matter what you buy, the happiness it brings only lasts for a short while. You adapt to it and then you're right back where you started, wanting more. The cycle never ends. Now let's talk about consumerism for a minute. It's everywhere. Companies are really good at making us believe we need things we never even thought about before. Think about smartphones. Every year, a new version comes out, and even if your current phone works perfectly fine, you might feel this itch to upgrade. It's not that your phone suddenly became bad. It's just that you've been convinced by ads, influencers, and maybe even your friends that you need the latest model to stay relevant. The problem with consumerism is that it leads to dissatisfaction. The more you buy, the more you want. And what's worse, it doesn't just end with things. It starts to affect your mental well-being. There's this pressure to always have the latest, the biggest, and the best. And when you can't keep up, it feels like you're falling behind. In fact, studies have shown that people who are more materialistic tend to be less happy. Owning more doesn't bring contentment, it often brings anxiety. Take a look at debt. So many people are drowning in debt because of this desire to have more. According to the Federal Reserve, the average American household carries around $6,000 in credit card debt. A big chunk of that comes from buying things we think will make us happy. But the more debt we accumulate, the more stressed we feel. Financial worry is one of the leading causes of mental health issues, including anxiety and depression. It's no wonder that so many people feel overwhelmed. But what if we flip the script? What if we embrace the idea that less is more? I'm not saying you should throw away all your possessions and live like a monk, but think about how much mental energy, time, and money go into acquiring, maintaining, and worrying about all the things you own. Imagine freeing yourself from that burden. Minimalism is a lifestyle that's gained popularity for exactly this reason. It's not about living with nothing, it's about living with only what truly matters. By owning less, people report feeling more freedom, more clarity, and ironically, more happiness. There's less clutter, not just physically, but mentally too. When you're not constantly bombarded by stuff, you can focus on things that really matter: relationships, experiences, personal growth. Look at the tiny house movement. It's a great example of people actively choosing less. People are downsizing their homes to focus on a simpler life. They're trading in huge mortgages and piles of stuff for financial freedom, more time with loved ones, and a greater sense of peace. And many of them say they're much happier living in a smaller space with fewer things than they ever were in a big house full of unnecessary items. Being content with what you have doesn't just reduce mental pressure, it also helps you avoid debt. When you stop buying things to fill a void, you naturally start living within your means. And that's a huge relief. No more stressing over credit card bills or feeling anxious about how to make ends meet. A key to this is gratitude. When you focus on what you already have rather than what you lack, you shift your mindset. Instead of constantly feeling like something is missing, you start to appreciate all the things that make your life good. Science backs this up too. Studies have shown that people who regularly practice gratitude are generally happier, healthier, and less stressed. And don't forget about the importance of experiences over things. We often think that buying something new will bring lasting happiness, but it's actually experiences like traveling, learning something new, or spending quality time with friends and family that leave us with lasting memories. Research has shown that spending money on experiences tends to make people happier than spending it on material goods. In Japan, for example, people live by a concept called wabi-sabi, which embraces the beauty of simplicity and imperfection. Their homes are often uncluttered and their lifestyles reflect a focus on peace and balance. Despite Japan being a very advanced society, they show us that living simply can lead to a high quality of life. Many in Japan live long, healthy lives. There's something about that minimalist approach that fosters longevity and well-being. At the end of the day, having more things doesn't equate to having a better life. It's about finding joy in simplicity, being content with what you have and focusing on what truly matters. So, the next time you're tempted to buy something you don't really need, pause for a second and ask yourself, will this really make me happier? More often than not, the answer is no. Happiness comes from within, and often less is more.